Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Karen Bedney, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind successful startups, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future expansion. Today, we're excited to have Keaton Grider, the founder of Steadfast Seminars, joining us. Steadfast Seminars is a Wheeling, West Virginia-based company that offers Christian-based seminars and networking opportunities focused on business, leadership, and coaching. Keaton will be sharing more about his founding story and giving us a glimpse into his plans for growing this unique faith-driven venture. So let's jump right in, Keaton. Welcome to Founders Future.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Of course, it's good to have you. Keaton, I'd like to take us back for the listeners. Help us understand what started this all. So, what motivated you to start Steadfast Seminars, particularly with its Christian focus?
Honestly, I've been a Christian most of my life. I was raised in the church. So it felt natural that if I was going to start a business, it was going to have a Christian focus. But honestly, I graduated college last year and I was a business major. And I was really just looking for an opportunity, a place where I could learn and grow on how to start a business, how to run a business with a Christian perspective. And if I'm being honest, I didn't see a lot of that out there. So it just got to the point where I was like, if it's not there, go make it. I can bring in people, I can bring in speakers that have good advice on business, leadership, and coaching through a Christian perspective. So I was like, hey, I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I've always wanted to do something. And it seems like this is something that I would have loved to go to and didn't exist. So I did some research, found out that other people would be interested in this as well. So I was like, hey, let's make an event. Let's make some seminars. Let's make it happen.
I love that. So you're paving the way for other Christians that are also involved in building their business and leadership and coaching. And so before we get into the nuts and bolts of what you're doing, I want to ask you, and really for our listeners, what is one misconception that people often have about faith-based professional development or the seminar industry that you'd like to address?
I'd say there's a couple misconceptions. I'd say that unfortunately, in the field specifically of like faith-driven seminars, a lot of them that I've heard of are they're really not faith driven. They're about the business itself. And then it's, all right, we're going to sprinkle in some Bible verses. And I'd say because of that, some people think that, okay, the seminars, they're just trying to take your money. It's just, you're going to go there and they're going to ask me to sign up for 1,000 things. And I'm not going to actually learn anything. And they just want me to join their programs. That way I can pay them more money and then that type of thing, where maybe some seminars are like that. But with Steadfast Seminars, we really try to tie everything into how does this glorify God? That's what it's about. It's not about how I can take your money. It's also not how about how we can do something unethical or just find a way to make more money or to be greedy and to just at whatever costs, whatever it takes, make more money. That's not what this is about. A lot of people think a business seminar, that's what it's about. Really, what it is about how to glorify God with your career, how to build up your community, the people around you, and how to be in a living example of that.
Beautiful. I love what you're doing here. So let's then get into the nuts and bolts of everything that you're doing. So, can you walk our listeners through how Steadfast Seminars is generating revenue today, or for any future clients who are
Mm.
listening right now? What is that core seminar offering, and how do you structure that out for the attendees?
Yeah. So really, right now, there's two main ways that Steadfast Seminar can make money. I'm working on a third revenue stream. Actually, this next couple months, hopefully, we'll be introducing that to the market. But the first most obvious way is ticket sales. Buying a ticket to attend, to be an attendee of the seminar, is how we're making some revenue. The other way, which is where honestly the meat of the revenue is going to be coming from, is the like vendor and advertisement and sponsorships available for the seminars. So the seminar is both a meet and greet and also educational experience. So we have sponsorships available where people can pay to come and have their company, their product, their service advertised at the seminar. So they'd be paying for a table, paying for advertisement spots throughout the seminar and throughout the venue. And they'd be able to, it's a mixed bag. So these people can either sell their service, their product. These are businesses that have a Christian focus as well or are Christian business owners. And the other is it's like a job fair as well. So throughout the business world, it's pretty obvious. It's one of the things you can't even ask in an interview is face-based things. Stuff like that's not allowed. So people that are hiring and that are looking for maybe a Christian type of employee or a person that is interested in pursuing Christian ideals, people that attend a Steadfast seminar are going to have a wide variety of people or maybe people hiring that could be looking to fill those positions. So businesses that want to sell products, services, or are looking for new employees can buy an advertisement table at Steadfast to advertise their company. Those are the main two. The third one that we're looking at getting is I'm actually focusing on starting a newsletter. So hopefully that will be a more consistent revenue stream and also steady wave of clientele. Because with seminars, it's like I don't have one every day. You can't, they take a lot of time to plan and to prepare for. So really having that newsletter where I could have a new person subscribing to a newsletter every minute, that can just keep on coming. And I don't need to create a new newsletter or new seminar in order to have that happen.
Okay, awesome. I love that. And just for clarity for our listeners, are you speaking at these seminars or how
Mm,
does that kind of pan
yeah.
out? Hmm.
So right now, what I do, I'm basically the host, the MC of the event, and I'm just as interested as having people attend the event as I am meeting great people to speak at it. So both in part of my advertising, I'm trying to reach out to people that want to come to it and people that have something they want to say at it. So I'm 22, I'm young. I joked that I said, with this business, I don't even need to know what I'm talking about because I can just bring great people in that do know what they're talking about. So
Okay.
basically my role is to go and find people within the fields of business leadership and coaching and that are experts in those fields that can come bring their personal experience to advise the listener. And then after they do that, I help lead a panel discussion where I ask the speakers a couple questions and then I actually open up to the floor and pass a mic around. That way anyone attending the event can ask any of the 3 or 4 speakers about what they talked about. So, for example, my last seminar I had a guy named Jason Robb, the owner of Rally Exterior Solutions, which is a pressure washing and exterior lighting company in the kind of Ohio Valley, Greater Wheeling, West Virginia area. And he was a young entrepreneur like myself, was able to give advice and information on how to start a business, how to set revenue goals, all that kind of beginner stuff for someone that's interested. Next, I had Mike Hatch. He is with an organization called Truth at Work out of Pittsburgh. He's basically a business coach. So he meets in roundtables and advises Christian business owners on how to basically formulate their companies, how to structure it, and then also he talks about redemptive economics, which is essentially the Christians' impact using their money on how they can influence the world. The next I had the COO of the Wheeling Chamber of Commerce, Mike Howard, and he was basically speaking. He gave a little bit about leadership, but then also talked about which really is the foundation of Christianity, which is abiding in Jesus, how to have both your business and life be focused on Jesus and have him as a foundation. So each of those speakers had different experience that all tied back into leadership and business. Then in future events, I'd like to have teachers, coaches, really any career. I want to get somebody who's qualified and who has been doing it for a while to give advice on how to glorify God with that career. That
Okay.
way, anyone that comes to the event is going to learn about their career and how they can do that as well.
Awesome. Very cool. Okay. So I'm curious, and I'm sure our listeners are as well, but how are you currently attracting these clients or these speakers to your seminars? Which channels or methods have been most effective for you when outreaching?
So honestly, it's really just been two. And the first one is social media. So just having a wide variety of accounts, whether that be Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. So I've got people have reached out to me from there that have just seen it through people that they've followed and heard about it and were like, hey, I'll buy a ticket, or hey, I've heard about this. Maybe I could speak at a future seminar. But then the way that I originally wanted it to be, especially for my first event, was I wanted to keep it personal. So a lot of the invitations for both speakers and for attendees were face to face. So I mentioned Mike Howard before. He's a COO of the Wheeling Chamber of Commerce. Steadfast Seminars is a member of that Chamber of Commerce, which I recommend that to any business owner, anybody to join a Chamber of Commerce because it really helps you get those connections, get that face-to-face interaction to help you sell to others and also more networking opportunity. So at events like that, I was able to meet these people and I was able to tell them about my seminar. And I met a lot of people through there and through those connections I made there for people that wanted to speak, people that were just starting maybe their public speaking and were like, hey, I have a message to share. I'm a Christian. That's who I am. It's important to me. And that impacts my business more than any other thing. So I met with those people one on one, talked to them about Steadfast Seminars because I wanted them to reflect the Steadfast brand. I knew if I'm going to have someone come and speak on the platform I'm giving, I want them to reflect the values that Steadfast has and to really embody what that means. So I basically did that on a personal face to face, going out to lunch, going out to breakfast with these people. And I also did that with invitations as well, whether it was at church or other places where it was like, hey, someone's talking about something, or a Christian I would know would be like, hey, I'm just really been struggling with work and I hate my job, or want to start something new, or I just don't know how I can go and honor God with what I'm doing. My job sucks, or it's not useful, whatever this, or I'm not a pastor, so I'm not going to be able to glorify God. I tried any conversation I was in that those conversations, those talking points were coming up, I really was like, all right, I got the thing for you. I'm going to give you some advice here, but you need to come to Steadfast Seminar. We've got boom. And just doing that personal face to face selling.
Hmm.
In the future, I'd like Steadfast Seminars to have more brand recognition to where right now I'm trying to build it up slowly where I'd say Christians, because Christians are people that are trying to learn more about their faith, are really my target market. In my city, I'd say that a good amount of people now know about Steadfast Seminars, a good amount of Christians. Now, I'd say you go outside of that, no one really knows. My parents that live back in my hometown know about it, but that's about it.
Yeah.
So the goal is to branch that out to where, hey, I tell my whole circle knows about it, and then each person of those, their whole circle knows about it. And
Hmm.
then same thing with the speakers, where they were doing a great job of using their platforms, their businesses to share about Steadfast. So they were doing a great job of like basically their job, but they were selling it for me part of the time is, hey, they're speaking at this event. They believe in the message that they're sharing. They want more people to share it and to hear it. So they're
Hmm.
telling everybody they can about it. And if I tell 10 people and those 10 people tell other 10 people, it starts growing. And that's
Yeah.
really just how it's been happening. And I can foresee that spreading more and more.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And for the road ahead, looking at the vision and future of what you're doing and expanding and scaling the business, do you feel like you're going to need more people behind you in order to help or with that marketing side of things? Tell us what that looks like for you.
Yeah, definitely. Like right now, it's a one-man show. I'm doing this, well, not really. I'd say that my wife's over there. So it's not really a one-man show. It's myself, and she's been helping me a lot. And I've had some of the speakers in a way were mentors to me and have helped give me advice in certain ways. But all of the grunt work, all of the behind-the-scenes stuff, that's myself. So I'm doing that as well as focusing on the marketing, the all of the outreach, all of the sales, but also website design, social media posts, and
Yeah.
all of that might not sound like a lot, but it adds up, as
Yeah.
well as filing things for taxes, doing bookkeeping. So definitely when I'm able, and I'd say that'd be my next goal, is to have enough money where I could bring other people on to focus more on the accounting side, focus on social media marketing. I think I'm doing a decent job at it, but I honestly don't enjoy that stuff a ton. So I know that a lot of people love that. So I'm sure there's tons of people that I could employ that would love to run all my social media pages. If I never had
Yeah.
to touch one of those again, I'd be happy. I'm just like, hey, someone else run the Steadfast Seminars Instagram page. I'll
Yeah.
start piecing off stuff like that. But I'd say I'm definitely at the absolute earliest, I'm probably a year away from bringing in maybe even a part-time employee. But who knows? Things could accelerate faster. But I definitely would be interested 6 months to now to bringing on maybe some college interns I know that would be looking for an internship to get some more experience with marketing and things like that.
Keaton, I'm curious. Let's say if you had to identify one thing, if solved right now, would make the biggest impact on Steadfast Seminars growth, what would it be for you?
It's a good question. I'd say honestly, if I had I don't know if this would solve the growth, but this is more probably the result of the growth, but it would be the brand recognition. Oh, Steadfast Seminars. Like for example, if I were to tell you if I threw out the name TED Talk, most people would know about TED Talk or the TEDx conference or something of that nature, to where you might not know what the speaker's talking about because they're talking about different things. But if you heard TED Talk, you're like, oh, it's probably someone that knows what they're talking about. They're
Mhm.
probably an expert in their field. Or it's the same thing where you look at the logo of McDonald's. It's like you see the golden arches and you're like, you know what that is, way off in the distance. You don't know what city it is, but you're driving on the highway. Yeah, you're like, hey, I know what to expect when I go there. I know what their menu is. I know all of this. So if everyone in the nation or everyone in the world heard of Steadfast Seminars and is, oh, that means that there's going to be Christ-like advice given on business leadership and coaching, and I'm going to be taught how to glorify God in my career. If everybody knew that when they heard Steadfast Seminars, I'd be a completely different world right now. Right now, it's like Steadfast Seminars. What's that? Or what was it? Steadfast Strategy, Steadfast. So that would completely change the game for me, having that brand recognition. And that's only going to come through producing the highest quality seminar I can, and then
Mhm.
also having that marketed and shown to the masses.
Yeah. Yeah. And is there anything that you're putting into place right now to resolve this, or do you feel like it's an area that you'll likely need some new ideas with?
A little bit of both. So I definitely am. I've actually worked with a couple graphic design people and film editors to try to make some recent videos for me. I put some of them out, but I'm going to use those kind of as my ads to advertise on Instagram and Facebook and elsewhere to get more of a broader environment and broader scope of people that are viewing what I'm putting out. But then also with that, I'm definitely open for advice from others on how they've done that. Because it's different with the seminars. I hope to one day have Steadfast seminars all over the US. So, like, I want them to be local events, like how they are, but I want local speakers at each event. So, I want a Steadfast seminar in Wheeling, West Virginia, with speakers from the Wheeling area. That, guess what? If you have a question and you go up and talk to them afterward, they're going to give you their phone number and they're going to have coffee with you a week later and they can mentor you. It's not just I give you advice one day and I never talk to you again. Or, hey, I'm getting paid or whatever to talk for an hour and I see you after that. Oh, you're a stranger. It's no, it's these are people that actually live near you and can benefit you. So I want to have an event near Columbus, Ohio, and I'm gonna have people in the Columbus area speaking at it, and then one near Fort Wayne, Indiana, and then so on and so on. So these things I want them to be local, but I also want them to have that bigger scope of, hey, oh, I know I heard of Steadfast, but it's a different, interesting thing to be able to advertise that specifically so that people know this is a local thing, a meaningful thing, but how do you get everybody to know that? But you can start with Wheeling. I'll start with my city and move from there.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Keaton, for our listeners, can you share some specific goals that you're aiming for in terms of seminar attendance or revenue?
Mm.
What do you see as key drivers for reaching those numbers?
Yeah. So I'm going to quote something that my college wrestling coach, which if he ever listens to this, I'm going to name drop him that way. But his name's Danny Irwin. I was a wrestler at West Liberty University, which was a top tier Division II wrestling team. But I don't know. I don't think it was his quote. I think it was from somebody else. But he used to always say, control the controllables. That was something we always talked about. A lot of mindset coaches I had with wrestling always use this phrase. Basically, it was like you don't think about your opponent and what they can do. Think about what you can do. You don't think about, oh, what if the tournament starts at this time and I'm not ready? It's you can't control that. So why are you even thinking about it? So I view that approach to business is I'm not going to worry about. I was getting all worried about my first event. How many people are going to come? So I don't know. Not as many as I'd hoped. It's my first event. How much money am I going to make? Am I going to make enough to cover the cost? Am I going to do this? Am I going to do that? And it stresses you out. But what I realized was I can focus on producing the best event possible, the best, most professional seminar I can do, bringing in the best people possible, putting out the best content possible. And at the end of the day, if my seminar glorifies God, then it's a win. It's a success because that's what I'm trying to teach other people to do. And judging from my first seminar, that's the feedback I got from everyone I talked to. It was like, this is awesome. I want to come to the next one. And hey, do you think it glorifies God? They're like, yes, 100%. So to answer your question, my goal is to glorify God with this business. My goal is to create the most professional and the most engaging and the most Christ-like seminar I can, and to be able to keep on doing that over and over again. And obviously, to keep on doing that, I'm going to need to make money to sustain that and to sustain myself and to give me more time to focus on my business. But the main goal is to glorify God with this and to teach others how to do that. So as long as we're doing that, we're a successful business in my book.
Amazing. I love that. I can feel the passion behind everything that you're saying, and I believe it's working. I
Thank
believe
you.
what you're doing, so I appreciate it. I want to just go into a quick lightning round for our listeners. And so, what is one tool, resource, or strategy that has been game changing for organizing or promoting Steadfast seminars?
So I'd say one thing is I've heard this from others, but it's trying to create systems. So there's actually, I'm gonna name drop another person. It's called a Christian Business Builders. It's you know what school is, like SKOOL. I'm
Yep.
in a school group called Christian Business Builders with a Christian entrepreneur named Matt Chenard, and he owns a gym and a couple other things in Canada. But one of the things he talks about is basically for people like me that have a small business or are self-employed and they don't have a big team, is how to make money while you're doing this that glorifies God, but also in a way where you're not working 80 hours a week. Where you're not, it's like I'm working a full-time job outside of this, so I don't have 80 hours a week I can give to Steadfast Seminars. It says one of the biggest things is creating systems. So creating things that where I don't need to start from scratch every time I need to do something. So something as simple as having like for the emails that I send out when someone buys a ticket, I don't have them completely automated, but I have a template because I want to keep it personal. So I have a template of all the basic information, and then I do some research on, okay, what's their current job? What are things they're going to want to learn about at the seminar? Type those in the blanks, boom, boom, sent. Things like that, where I just have a system or a pattern in my business to where it's, oh, what do I do now? It's no, I know what to do. They bought the ticket. I do these three things on the list. Boom. And then before the seminar happens, I have these couple things I need to hash out. Because I think too, once I have employees, those will be easy to teach. It's not, oh, what do I do? Oh, you just do whatever pops in your brain and think it feels right. No, you do these things right here. You find them here. They're listed here. Here's the template. Make it cookie cutter, mass produce it to save some time. Things like that.
Yeah, systems are key to have in place if you want to stay organized and professional and even personal, like you said, making sure
Hmm.
they're personalized. And then one more lightning round, here we go. So, what advice would you give founders who are just starting their journey, especially those blending faith and entrepreneurship?
Honestly, what I would say is start. And I'd say for one, if it's faith driven, make sure that you actually feel called to that because it's going to be something that is going to be draining and they're going to feel like, oh, is it worth it? And it's worth it if you're called. If it's not, if you're doing it for attention, if you're doing it for this, for that, it's gonna come and go because you're not gonna get that. You're not gonna get the recognition. You're not gonna get this and that. No one's gonna see what goes on behind the scenes. But if you're doing it because you feel like this serves a higher purpose, and if you feel like you're the one that should be sent to do this, then do it. Because that's the whole thing. It's Isaiah 6:8 or that verse in Isaiah, but here I am, send me. Be the person that's going to make change. But the biggest thing is do it. I'm a procrastinator at times. Things get in my head. Oh, what about this? What about if that happens? What if I fail? Start the business and be okay with failing. Be prepared to fail. If you try and don't succeed, okay, now I know that it didn't work out. I don't want it to be hypothetical and don't let it be hypothetical for you. If you feel called to do something, if you or feel called to be a Christian entrepreneur, go out and do it. Filing an LLC is very easy. I'm 6 months into this. I don't have all the answers, but I'm really glad that I've started it and that I had a successful event and I feel optimistic moving forward. And back in October, I was like, oh, I don't know if I should do this. And I was like, boom, I made a deadline that I had to get the LLC filed. I had made other deadlines to get things done. And before I knew it, I did it. I followed those. I was like, oh, I have a business now. I'm a business owner. I've got tax things to fill out. And it was awesome. But don't be afraid to fail and start the business.
Amazing. I love it. That does wrap up another inspiring episode of Founders Future. I want to thank Keaton Grider for sharing his incredible journey and insights with us today. Keaton, it's been fantastic learning about Steadfast Seminars, and your vision for connecting professionals through faith-based seminars is amazing. And to our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe to Founders Future wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. You can also find more resources and insights at closers.io, where we're dedicated to helping businesses accelerate their sales and marketing efforts through world-class systems and playbooks. Until then, keep climbing, and we will see you on the next one.